I'm home. Oh, I said, my mom about if she was speeding, and I said, "Can you please slow down? I certainly don't wish to interact with the police." And she's like, "Oh, you have fear of the police from watching those videos." And it's like, yeah, well, that's not really fair. Yes, and also, if you see the way police. I mean, she's like, "I'm not afraid of them the way you are." And I say to her, "Mom, you have nothing to be afraid of. You're just like them. You're cut from the same cloth. Yeah. You know, you're the same. You and the police live in the same world." Or you think they give a fuck about you. Because they're not worried about you, Mom. Police aren't worried about people who aren't worried about them, and people aren't worried about the police who aren't worried about those people. There's nothing to be worried about. I'm like, "Mom, I can picture like we get stopped by the police and you're not like, Mom, sorry? Can I see your ID? Oh, my son's really afraid of the police because he watches all those YouTube videos." Oh, I see, hey? Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We're gonna have a special fun with you. In that way that women, if you watch a lot of videos, will scapegoat men. My mom scapegoats me. And after telling her about what my experience, she hasn't heard very many of my experiences. And I say, "You're just scared of the police." And I said, "Mom, you don't even know my experiences." I'm like, "Oh, I know your experiences, and I know you don't like them." And when someone talks to you that way, it's so disrespectful. I'm like, "Mom, I'm glad you feel safe around the police. Do you understand that a black man in the United States is 2.5 to 5 to probably 10 times more likely to be arrested by the police?" Just because they feel like it? It's such a tremendous white person, white woman denial. I said, "You live in a safe world in your mind, and it's good. But that's not the real world." But that's not the way to talk to my mother. And what the crazy thing is after having this quick back and forth, I say, "What have you learned from this discussion?" "Oh, you're just really afraid of the police because you watch those videos." It's like, huh? And so then I explain, police can be in bad moods just like anyone, just like any person. Except it can come off a lot worse for a white male than for a 74-year-old white female. She's still not buying it. So I was like, what do you have to do just to turn on a white woman's sense of bioethics? We've reached the watershed of feminism. Now, can you consider that not everyone has the same experience as you? Can you actually give validity to another human being not feeling as completely ambivalent about the police? This all comes from the fact that she was going 70 kilometers an hour in a 50-kilometer-hour zone past the police station. And I say, "Mom, do you want to slow down? I'd rather you didn't get stopped by the police, you got a ticket." She's like, "You're worried about yourself, not about..." It's like, "I'm worried about everything. I don't want to see the police. I don't want to see them. I don't want that to be part of my day." And if she was stopped, she'd be like, "Oh, Landon, you're not going to make a scene, are you?" I was like, holy fuck. This person has completely eliminated my safety. Instead of saying, "Oh, sure, I'll respect you as a white male. I'll stay within 10 kilometers of the speed limit," which is probably what the police want you to do anyway, so they don't have to stop you. And then if they're having a bad mood, take me out of the car and ask me some questions. You know what I mean? Like they could ask for they may not technically be able to, but they could easily ask for my ID. I don't have any. My birth date. Oh, that's nice and hard. It's very scary. It sets up a very scary dynamic. You know, and it's like, my mom is already eliminating me from her concern. And I've just started talking to her. It's uncanny, the scapegoat's ability with a friend or acquaintance, say who's a female in this case, to just mention various fears or concerns about the world and to generate such immediate and complete antipathy, couched in the phrase, "Oh, I know you're afraid of the police because you watch those videos." You mean the videos where the police hurt, cavity search, wrongfully imprisoned? The idea that they can just be in a bad mood or blow smoke up your ass, how they can just stick their finger up your psychological asshole and watch you quiver, and if you don't like it, they can fucking arrest you. God forbid you want to record anything for your own fucking safety. You know, nothing gets their deck erect more erect than somebody recording other than themselves. You know, like after watching teenager after teenager shot by the police, like, and what all the sheer amount of bullshit these people spread to keep the civil union going, which takes a lot of things, yes, hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and a lot of fucking bullshit, and a lot of fucking deluded, aggressive people and white people operating in the last legal drug, which is not just alcohol, it's the intoxicating effects of denial that allows the violence to go on, and is the only way people deal with it that don't really want to know how far it goes. And this is a woman who's has a history of violence towards men and towards me. This is a woman who never has any fear of dislocating a man's shoulder and raping him and ever having the police look into it seriously. What a wonderful world for women, hey? But it wouldn't be fair to stop there. No, it's not fair. It's not useful information. You see, we haven't gotten to the useful information part of this video. First, I have to say a complete apology to all women, that I may not have a complete enough idea of the mosaic of feminine suffering to give you a sufficient enough pass from the emotions and trembles in my body, having been raped by this woman over 20 times. Sorry that I'm not sufficiently patient with the subject matter, having spent thousands of hours and 10,000s of pages writing about it, from the deep down inner place of being fucking raped and physically mutilated and having your body parts dislocated throughout your adult life. Yeah, go ahead. And not to mention the stories I can tell you about how reasonably and innocently ambivalent my own mother is to this, because she was raped when she was 5. Right? Dun, 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 dun. You know, this can go many ways, right? What do you want from a man? What do you want from me? What do you want, ladies? What do you want me to say? Tell me, give me a script, put your fucking hand up my asshole and tell me how to behave in every fucking situation of my life so I feel safer? And that's what women do. That's what women do. And if men go along with it, it's their fault, and if they don't, it's their fault. You know? You know, right? I know about women. Hey, I know about men and women. You know, because I studied both. Right? I had the equivalent of 100 degrees in gender studies.
I have the equivalent of 1 billion degrees in gender studies by birth. What do you have? I have 1 trillion degrees in gender studies by birth. And every time you object to that, I have 10 billion trillion to the 10 to the 200 more degrees in gender studies than you do. And every time you object to my safety and my voice, tremulous and insufficiently tribute paying to the fucking vagina as it may be, you fucking give me 1 billion more degrees because I've got to deal with your violence as well, and your ignorance, and your structural rape, and your culture of rape. And yes, I've been around plenty of women, and I've gotten on recording with a wonderful thing called the human mind and the horrors it suffers when it simply is a sufficiently passive male to allow women the leisure to talk about their rape victims, or guys they had sex with, as you would probably know it.
Very big difference. And throughout my life, the difference between my feelings and my personal safety, right? And you given the amount of violence I've had in my mother's brood, as it were. And the amount of grief my mother has brought along with her in life. And any threshold where my mom shows ambivalence to my personal safety, it's just extremely troubling. At least it's not as troubling as I thought the day was. We go on and I'm polite to her. And as I've learned to be passive to women like my mom, who are predators. They laugh at the concerns of men. She thinks I'm telling a joke. She's going at 75 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone. And she tells me, oh, I'm only going 65, you know? And she's just barreling along. And I said, Mom, you know, you're kind of going like almost 20 kilometers over the speed limit, for one. So I'm kind of interested in obeying the law on principle, right, as an adult. And she doesn't care, doesn't have to care. And this ambivalence carries over into any effect it might have upon me. I said, you're responsible for your passenger. Your passenger is telling you they don't want to be pulled over by the police. Can you slow down? That's going to greatly interrupt my day. She can't imagine that someone might be bothered by that. That the police could be seen as dangerous to passengers and drivers. That's perfectly okay. You don't have to feel that way, right? You might think, oh, I'm fine. But you know that there are reasons why people could feel that way. There are just people that the police are going to treat differently. If you're a more shy, withdrawn person, they might be more threatened by you. They might have, like, humans are animals. There are some kinds of people that men and women, police officers, are going to get their hackles up. Do you have an ID? No, officer, I don't. It's at home. Why is it at home? I don't carry it with me. Why don't you carry it with you? I don't want to lose it. I don't drive. Oh, you should carry it with you. Well, I don't want to. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be an asshole to you then. You know, I mean, they're just talking you into any point where you assert too much of your own sense of self-determination, and it goes against too much of whatever else the added fucking verbiage they've added to whatever fucking illegitimate schooling they've had in the law to begin with, which the law basically for police is to, whatever the law is, the rule is for that they can stretch it. You can't. So while they're stretching it, you better just be letting them stretch it. If any other person be like, you're stretching it. I know I am. Fuck you. I can stretch everything. I can sit in my car for a half hour writing your fucking ticket if I want to. You know what I mean? You're not exactly going to drive away. You're detained. I am, for the sake of this stop, I am abducting you. You can consider yourself abducted by the mothership of church and state. And the legalese, everything, the tickets, the money, everything. None of this bothers my mother. It's amazing. Not my personal distress, not the anticipation of my distress, not the fact that I haven't told her, but I've lived quite a bit of this day in anxiety. That last night she had too much to drink and yelled at me. You know, and that almost any conversation I have with her that is an argument, which a lot of things have turned into already. She left some sushi in the fridge. I said, oh, where's the soy sauce? Well, somebody left it in the cupboard and didn't tell me it was empty. It's been empty for a month. You know, it's just sitting there empty for a month. Somebody didn't tell me it was empty. I remember you telling me it was in the cupboard, but you didn't tell me it was empty. And it's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You found a way in your mind to make it my fault because there's no soy sauce. I got it, okay. And she's got this running gag, and she believes it, that if anything of the condiments goes empty, it's my fault because I should tell her. You know, maybe I didn't care. Maybe it's just been empty for so long that neither one of us bothered to get any new stuff. You know, any number of things. So she's already found different things to be ambivalent to what I'm saying and hostile, right? While giving me a gift, sushi. The gift of sushi that came with hostility, right? So sushi with hostility, right? Sushi with prejudice. And that's what she gave me, sushi with prejudice. And I'm gonna take this bath, I'm gonna relax, And I'll maybe able to keep this camera going, I don't know, and just watch the hostility in the background. So far, it's not that high, right? Right? But it's there. It's definitely there. She's coming in and saying, oh, I found a place for you to rent, or you can do this. And it's like, it's the end of my fucking day. I said, Mom, I've got 2 hours of recovery to do right now after being outside all day. In the car, I said to her, you know, being outside all day, like I've done thousands of times, being outside all day leaves me extremely vulnerable. I'm exposed to the world. I'm open to nature and many of its healing benefits, but I'm exposed to the mentality of human beings and the mendacity of it in ways that sometimes deeply trouble me. Okay, good. And I come home and she's exposing me to that mendacity already. She can't just give me a little time, a little peace, just that little extra feminine modesty that says, okay, I hope you're right. Thanks for picking me up. Sure. Right? She's getting stronger. She's getting more hostile. Right? She is sexually aggressive. She's a predator. She's a psychopath. As I've been saying all day, gender is a part of sexual harassment. And when your gender is dismissed along with your voice, that's sexual harassment. My mom has already sexually harassed me twice since on the way home, since picking me up and coming here. She sees it as me being difficult. It's increasing her docket to fucking execute me if I put up too much of a resistance to her sexual harassment, which she feels is her right. For the little tiny wrongs that she's accusing me of, little wrongs, little knives, little wrong for this and wrong for that, wrong for this and wrong for that. This is wrong and that is wrong. Right? Little wrongs, but they're never little for an alcoholic sexual predator. Oh no, every little thing, it's on you. If she finds some dishes in the sink like before I've had a chance to wash them, oh, I hate washing your dishes. I'm washing your dishes. I can't believe I have to wash your dishes after everything else I do. Right? And yet I wash your dishes all the time without complaint because I feel as though she gives me a lot as a person, even though she's dislocated my shoulder and raped me. Isn't that amazing? Aren't I an amazing person, ladies? Aren't I incredible? I don't think I have the right to safely say that, even on YouTube. I don't think I'm totally safe. I think there are women who would fucking sexually assault me in a second in that YouTube comment section if they had a fucking half a chance to do so, without any thought for who I am, where I come from, or my gender, in any way. In any way, shape, or form. And you know it, 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 and you do it anyway. You do it anyway because you can, right? Because you can't control yourself like a predator, because you can't control yourself. Really? He looked at me, smiled every day like a man to pay, and then all of a sudden he couldn't control himself. He did everything he could within a relatively small time to make me feel safe. This man's a sexual predator. And my mom still shops there. Still tells me stories about him. Good or bad, still thinks I mind knowing about him or not. She makes problematic comments about everything and everyone that's ever hurt me as badly as any human being can hurt another human being. But what she never does is commiserate with me. What she never does is show the modesty and the commiseration. She lives as a psychotic. She lives as a psychotic alcoholic type, female. She lives that out in her life. It's her religion. It doesn't matter what I do that's nice. It doesn't matter what nice things I say. It doesn't matter if I ask about my relatives' well-being. It counts nothing for me. You know why? Because she doesn't give a shit. Why does she want me to give a shit when she doesn't give a shit? Right? It's a different thing pathologically than it is verbally. Right? And you can sense all the things that a psychopath puts out. And they get to talk this way and tell themselves these things, and they're letting you in on a schizophrenic conversation. Which is probably what you think is because a man who can tell you about the schizophrenic conversation and people and women and predators is not considered a well person. Because
For you, wellness is not doing it. I'm unraveling your total definition of wellness and how you got a job in the first place and kept it in any cult in the world. And you could thank me, but instead you'll become aggressive to a totally vulnerable man in the most vulnerable part of his day. You feel aroused and excited. You want to hurt me. You want to fuck me. You can't see me as a neutral person, given all the rights that your own flesh and blood that you fucking think you give to your own children. You don't give that to me. You don't got that from me. You haven't got that generosity in the darkness of your life when people aren't looking. Hey? People don't think they have a dark side. People don't think there's anything that negative about the world. So we're always psychos. Always psychos. Always, always, always psychos. That's their motto. Always be psycho. That way it seems normal. Oh. I'm done. My mom was not home. So we'll leave this on when she gets home. If she's not watching TV, I'll leave it on. These are the kind of things that if I knew any other woman in my life, I would be like, oh my God, who is this person? And it sounds normal. It sounds legitimate. You see, they really believe it. It's a very status quo speech about how you should never be afraid of the police. Very status quo white female. Status quo white females for whom the law can do nothing wrong, right? Status quo white females of any age for whom the law can do no wrong to you. You're good. They make you safe, not because they're so interested in your well-being, but because they're not interested in your ill-being. And that police become most interested in the scapegoat. They can't help it, you see. And always these kinds of police apologists say, I've known plenty of good police officers. And all that means is I liked them. They were nice to me. It's like a 13-year-old girl saying, I liked those predators. They didn't hurt me. I'm on the power side and the power of good. You're one of those fearful, dark, negative people. You're just asking for them to hurt you because you're too afraid. If you're a status white female or you were a decent man, you wouldn't be afraid because I care about people and I care about people who are hurt by the police, but I don't hate the police because they have to hurt people. That's just part of the job, and we don't need to talk too much about that because you're stupid. You know? And that's the level of the average white female. That's actually their intellect talking right there. That's what they've said to me my whole life. That's what their mind is communicating, their body language. It's absolutely barbaric. It should be in the Twilight Zone. Instead, it's the norm, right? They're normies, right? They don't, and when they talk about the police, you know they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't have to give a fuck, right? That doesn't fit into their world, you know? They're numb to that stuff. They're just numb to it all life. They're numb. And what becomes a reasonable concern about not wanting to be stopped for speeding at the end of your day, if for no other reason, you don't have to defend yourself. You know what? You'd rather they do the speed limit. You don't want to see the police. End of story. Doesn't matter what you think. I don't want to see them. I don't have to defend that. I'm a passenger in your car. I don't want us to break the law. What do you say? Do you think you can respect me enough for that? No.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. All right. Paper towel. Yeah, I'll be right back.
What starts off as the spirit of spirited exchange is really just predatory. There's no such thing as a spirited exchange with women. They don't do exchanges. They do dominance. They're not. I've never had a spirited exchange with a female. They do dominance, or they just want to talk about themselves. Either way, talk about themselves, dominance. Talk about themselves, dominance. That's all white women can do.
Okay, let's get this off of here. You don't need this on anymore, do you? There you go. Okay. That's good. Here. Here, good. It's nice outside, and then all of a sudden that wind comes out and it perishing cold. Freezing cold. Well, we're good to be that cold 1 minute and then most the next. I think we're strong. More and more leaves are coming off that damn plant. I'm not happy. Not happy. Don't there's any point getting another one because that is a little bit of the leaves are coming off. Can't be too warm in here, that can't be why. Doesn't get any cold from outside. One thing. I don't know what to say.
We can get a few. I'm happy to look in Victoria myself. We get a few rentals and check them out. Me, you, drive down there one day.
Yeah.
Line up with even just a couple, even just one if you really want to. But we can't. But I would say I would drive down and check things out. It's not a bad idea. I don't want to live in Parksville the rest of my life. I'm on board with that. You know, but as long as there's some idea that you're going to live down there at some point too, I'd like to see you again.
Well, I think it wouldn't be a bad place. If you could find something affordable, it would not be a bad idea.
Yeah. No, not at all. I mean, Mom, I think all the time about wanting to live in the city. I don't know, I'd kind of prefer the mainland actually.
Yeah, it's the ferry thing.